If God is all-powerful and nothing can threaten him, why does heaven need security? It sounds like a contradiction. Security implies danger, and danger implies vulnerability. But God is neither weak nor vulnerable. So why does the Bible describe heaven not as an open field, but as a guarded kingdom? Most people imagine heaven as endless space and soft light. No borders, no restrictions, just open access and eternal peace. But Scripture never describes heaven that way. It describes structure, hierarchy, authority, and gates. Heaven has gates placed deliberately on every side, north, south, east, and west. That kind of detail is intentional, because gates don't exist for decoration or for beauty. They exist for control. A gate is a statement. It says access is not automatic. It says entry is not assumed. It says something beyond this point must be protected. You don't guard what has no value, and you don't restrict entry to something that doesn't matter. This design didn't begin in Revelation. It began at the very start of human history, in the Garden of Eden. After humanity fell, God didn't erase the garden or destroy the tree of life. He blocked the way back. Scripture says cherubim were stationed at the entrance, not welcoming figures, but armed guardians, wielding a flaming sword that turned in every direction. That image should slow us down, because it tells us something deeply unsettling. The garden still existed. The tree of life still stood, but humanity was no longer allowed near it. The issue wasn't the holiness of the place. The issue was the corruption of those trying to enter it. So God enforced a boundary. Holiness was protected not by removal, but by restriction. And that same principle governs heaven itself. Heaven is not open because not everything can survive there. Not every intention, not every spirit, not every will. Holiness is not neutral. It is consuming. That's why Scripture repeatedly shows boundaries between the divine and the corrupted, between light and darkness, order and rebellion. Security exists where purity must be preserved. And heaven is filled with beings who are not mindless or mechanical. Angels are intelligent. They have rank, authority, and responsibility, which means they also have choice. And where choice exists, rebellion is possible. That reality is not theoretical. It already happened. Lucifer was not an outsider trying to break in. He was an insider who rose up. He walked among the stones of fire, stood near the presence of God, held authority, and he turned against it. The first rebellion in creation did not start in hell. It started in heaven. That changes how we understand everything, because heaven does not guard itself out of fear of attack. It guards itself because it remembers betrayal. The gates are not there to protect God from harm. They are there to preserve holiness from corruption. God does not need defense, but his dwelling place requires order. Heaven is not chaos with random movement and unrestricted access. It is a kingdom. And kingdoms function on authority, alignment, and obedience. Access is granted, not assumed. Movement is regulated, not accidental. Authority flows downward, not outward. The gates of heaven are not barriers of weakness. They are declarations of sovereignty. They say that heaven is sacred, that holiness is intentional, and that rebellion is not allowed to return unchallenged. Every gate is a reminder that free will exists, that rebellion once rose from within, and that purity must be guarded forever. So if God is all-powerful, why does heaven need security? Not because he is afraid of what's outside, but because heaven is holy, and holy things are never left unguarded. Thanks for watching. If this made you think, consider subscribing for more content like this.